awkward. Run out of memory. Alright, okay. Story time again. Okay, so, ready? So, Mrs. Twit gets a stretching. Mr. Twit led Mrs. Twit outdoors where he had everything ready for a great stretching. He had 100 balloons, lots of string. He had a gas cylinder for filling balloons. He had fixed an iron ring to the ground. Stand here, he said, pointing to the iron ring, and then tied Mrs. Twit's ankles onto the iron ring. When that was done, he began filling the balloons with gas. Each balloon was on a long string, and when it was filled up with gas, it pulled on the string, trying to go up and up. Mr. Twit tied the end of the strings and to the top of Mrs. Twit's body. Some he tied around her neck, some he tied around her arms, some to her wrist, and some even to her hair. Soon there were 50 colored balloons floating in the air above Mrs. Twit's head. "Can you feel them stretching you?" asked Mr. Twit. I can, cried Mrs. Twit. "They're stretching me like mad." He put on another 10 balloons. The upward pull became very strong. Something like that.
You see that?
In order to make her taller.
Yeah, so, it was kind of like his plan, I guess, to stretch him so that he doesn't have the shrinks. Mrs. Twit was quite helpless now. With her feet tied to the ground and her arms pulled upwards by the balloon, she was unable to move. She was a prisoner, and Mr. Twit had intended to go away and leave her like that for a couple of days and nights to teach her a lesson. In fact, was just about to leave when Mrs. Twit opened her big mouth and said something silly. Are you sure my feet is tied properly to the ground? She gasped. Sorry guys, I was trying to do a British voice. If those strings around my ankles break, it'll be goodbye for me. And that's what gave Mr. Twit his second nasty idea. Mrs. Twit goes ballooning up.